Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Transform Sales Podcast. You're tuning into our sales software review series, and today our guest is Tom Ram of Meetz.ai. How's it going today, Tom?
Yeah, I'm going good. Thanks for having me on the show, Tommy.
Thank you for joining. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's talk about Meetz.ai. And what is Meetz.ai? How do you describe what Meetz.ai is as a software?
Yeah, I think so. Meetz.ai, it generates leads with AI, and that's obviously the most simplified way to explain what Meetz is. But it's much more than that, and there's functionalities that are just perfected to help optimize the outbound for companies, whether it's agencies, consultants. So we just handle all the outbound logic and all the complexities that come with it, and a lot of that heavy work's actually done with AI. And once you get into the platform, also you'll be able to see how that works. But it's pretty straightforward and easy to use. So that's probably also one of the nicest parts about it.
So Tom, what category are you using for Meetz.ai? Like, I noticed that you basically could take your SDR function, right, where you might normally hire a rep, and insert Meetz.ai to be an automated SDR basically for you. So what software category are you all placing yourself in now? It's kind of a new space, uncategorized, or is it one that you could align to based on some competitors out there, alternatives in the market?
So it's kind of a mix of a few different softwares that are available today. We would mainly be in the lead generation for sure. But the way that really Meetz fits inside of a company's workflow, especially in the sales process, so that would be the lead generation, so they're reaching out to the people, and the booking it. So the whole middle part where the human interaction is important to see if the person's actually a good fit. So we let the salespeople do it with Meetz. That, I always think that AI can't replace the human touch, talking with the people to see if it's good. But all the heavy work of scaling, A/B testing, reaching out, getting the data, all of that Meetz does. That's the lead generation aspect of it. We find the people that are interested, you'll see signals inside of Meetz that people are interested in your offer, even if they don't respond with email, which is one of the nicer things that we built inside of Meetz. And then after you talk with them, you think it's a good fit. So Meetz comes back in to help you with automating all the scheduling. So whether it's basic links, or it's an AI email scheduler that you CC in the email, and then the whole schedule will just start sending out times that you're available. Prospects can say, they're sick or forget to respond, and the AI scheduler will say, I hope you feel better, and it'll remember to reach out a week after. So the entire system is built around just, making everything much, much quicker, more efficient. And of course, humans, they forget to follow up. They forget to send out that email. So this is where the AI really comes in, and it remembers every time, to send out the follow-up, try and get that meeting booked for the SDR. So it really maximizes the salesperson at the end of the day.
So would it be fair to say that it's still, managed by a human? So you might still have one SDR, for example, but now that one SDR can handle a lot more records, and it makes up for those human errors of like maybe not following up, or it automates some things that the person would manually have to do. So the idea would be is maybe you wouldn't replace all of your SDRs, but you would be able to do more with fewer SDRs.
Exactly. And we have like consultants, one person shops, and they're the outreach as if they have 5 or 6 different SDRs, and that's how they're generating their leads. Because all of the A/B testing, that these are very technical things you need to set up. You also need a copywriter. You need to see how they're responding to every single different email variant differently. And that's part of the automations also that Meetz really helps out with inside of the platform itself.
Nice. So then you mentioned a few different people who could use this product or benefit from using Meetz.ai. Who right now is your most successful customer base, or the biggest customer base that you all have? If you said, look, a lot of people could benefit from this, but definitely based on the folks that are having a lot of success with us and are already customers today, if you fit this description, you need to talk to us. You need to look at Meetz.
Yeah. So I think the type of customer that we move the needle for the most is definitely the smaller teams. Sometimes even like 2 to 3 people on the sales team, solopreneur even, just because they don't have the capacity to do massive outreach. And this just allows them to scale it out as much as they want. And that also, I didn't mention this, so we'll see it on the platform, but that includes also cold calling at scale. So everything is done inside of Meetz, and you're able to just, reach out to a lot of people. And we have the database, and also the pricing for the database is also very cheap, so they can feel free to scale it. If they have a list, they can also import it. We can still personalize all of that reach. So we see a lot of value that we're bringing for the smaller teams for sure.
Got it. So if it's a small business with a small sales team, maybe more budget constraints, or just wanting to maximize the efficiency of headcount, they can use Meetz to handle more outreach with fewer people.
Yeah. And then also, on the other hand, we also have just large teams using Meetz. So the way that they use Meetz is basically that, and exactly like the next question here that I see underneath, basically what they do is they'll have people that are taking the demos, and they'll have the people that are actually using Meetz, and that's the SDRs that are checking up responses, creating the campaigns, calling. And then as soon as the SDRs, they find the person that's interested, so we'll build a flow, which you can just do it inside of the platform. Well, they'll CC the AI email scheduler, and they'll also CC the AE that's supposed to take that meeting. And then the AI scheduler will start automatically booking it for that AE. So also the process of passing it on to other team members is good. And that's more for the larger companies that have a lot of different, round robins that they need to do in order to take the demo. So all that they can also handle inside of Meetz. And yeah, you could do this, but you would need like a human that's, sitting with a schedule and is writing down every single person that they're following up with. So that's, what the AI email scheduler is going to be able to help out with as soon as you get to the leads themselves.
Got it. So not only is so now you can, like a business leader can ensure more compliance with their sales processes because they're not relying so heavily on the human element, right? So it sounds like when they go ahead and give the same instructions that they might put in their sales playbook to Meetz.ai, then Meetz.ai can do some of the steps that might get missed, like the documentation, call notes, the follow-up steps that don't necessarily need a person to send an email out. They can just automate it so that when someone moves in status or call disposition or something like that, it automatically does it. And so that's the other benefit. Not only can they do more with fewer people, but then they can also improve the quality of execution of the people by automating repetitive tasks that might be in the sales playbook.
Yeah, you said it perfectly. What we're basically just optimizing the way that they execute the tasks, just because the platform itself is very simple to use, very easy to see what the next steps for the salesperson is, very easy for the prospect even to see what the next step is in the sales process, which is something that a lot of people miss. And we help move that forward. So basically, for the prospect, it's a one-click. They schedule the demo. If it's a AI email scheduler, or they'll fill out questions if you want them to fill out questions before the meeting. So for both sides, for the salesperson and the prospect, it's a very easy and straightforward process to just move forward leads inside of your sales.
All right, cool deal. And then let's talk about how to keep score, right? So a new customer decides, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice on Meetz and see if it works for me. What should they be looking for in terms of quality, time, and or cost? How should they measure the success with Meetz if they adopt it? What KPIs should they focus on?
I see Meetz as responsible for handling, the deliverability. So that's, the email warm-ups, ensuring that the calls are going through. So we recognize that there's a human. We don't waste the time for the salesperson. We only let you talk with humans. And since we're also doing the personalization, so we're also in charge of, the KPI, the open. So you'll see high open rates instead of Meetz. And the only thing that really, in the end, the user needs to test It's just the different audiences. So once you find the different audiences, because they're going to open up the email since it's personalized and we're mentioning things that they're uploading on LinkedIn. Once they find that right audience that is both opening and responding, so then they know that they found a good audience to go after. And then they just need to scale on that specific audience, continue a bit of A/B testing, and we help with that in the platform. But they should be looking, within the first month already to see interest in their service, their product, a few demos, so that should happen in the first month. And if not, also one of the things that Meetz does is that we always get on calls, we help optimize campaigns. We check, how's it going, what's working, what's not working, and everything that's working, we're doubling down on it, just duplicating it. And this way, you can really drive your success that way. And then, of course, once you've got a few demos, a few deals from Meetz, you can always just increase the amount that you're sending out. It's not limited like LinkedIn messaging, which is, I think, 400 connections or something per month. And the cold emails, the way that we built it, you can send out a lot. So you can connect a lot of different aliases. You're not limited also on the cents per day because we help manage all the emails, auto-rotate between it. So users should see already success within the first month or two already.
Okay. So then just to repeat back then, what I heard is because you all have that list building function inside of Meetz, then one, the number of prospects in the database would be one measure. And then I heard you say that the connect rates, because the tool will deliver the messages and it should help with open rates just because I guess really the delivery increases. But the user, the company that buys Meetz, has to control the messaging and work to optimize the connect rates by probably streamlining the audience, like figuring out more of who's responding, who's not. And in that process, their connect rates will go up. But everything else is the user's responsibility, right? And Meetz just allows them to, or helps them to test those things, build the list, find out who's responding, start whittling it down. Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, even the messaging actually Meetz also helps handle. So they just need to test the prospects and that's it. There's kind of like Facebook ads where you test, this audience versus this audience, and we show you a very clean side by side so you can see which audience works for you. But yeah, we simplify, all the process to setting of deliverability, the messaging, all of that. So for them, it's just a click and get started.
Cool deal. So with no further ado, let's take a look behind the hood on the software. If you go ahead and share your screen, and then we'll load it up here in StreamYard. Now, guys, we talked through it. Why don't we talk about some small company? Maybe could we say, I don't know. Let's say it's a small CRM software company with a small team, and maybe use that for our example to kind of look at how we might do some things as a small CRM software company brand using Meetz.ai all the way down to who they might be targeting.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, 100% a good idea. So I'll show the steps. Really in Meetz to start the lead generation, it's 2 steps. You go to the prospect data, you find the people that would be relevant. And this is actually exciting because we're going to be releasing this platform next week. We have a few beta users on this already for a month or two, and it'll be official already next week. So this is the first look at it. Nice. But yeah, so first thing that you want to do, of course, you'll go over here and you'll select the countries that are relevant to your value proposition. So CRM, probably you want to look at companies that are at a max of, let's just say 200. Otherwise, they might have already implemented Salesforce or something like this. Industry. So we can look at technology. So we can look and see who would be relevant for it. Or you got to do internet. Here we go. So probably technology and media. Or if you don't want to use a sub-industry, so you could just select all of it. So you can do all of technology and media. And then seniority levels. So we'll probably look at directors, managers. And this is also some of the things that we're going to be A/B testing, because again, the main thing it means is that you just need to A/B test different audiences. So you'll have the job function over here. So you can see maybe operations would be good, or finance, that they're handling a lot of it. But for now, let's do apply now. One of the things that we want to see is not to have too many people match these filters. We want to really put it down. We have over 180 million people on our database. So here you can see 250,000 that match. And this is way over. You want to get to between 4,000 to 6,000 people that match your ICP. And then you have a very clear picture also of the audience you're reaching out to. But for now, we'll keep this. So one of the things, of course, you can do, one by one, click it to export. And we're also checking their LinkedIn to make sure that this is verified information before we're exporting it and that we're using up your credits. And yeah, automatically over here, you have the export name that includes all the filters you use. And this is also going to help you see which audience is working good for you. So when you do bulk export, you can export over here, let's say 100. Okay, so this account has 44 credits left. But you can also do 1, 2, 3 maximum contacts per company. And this way you don't get 5 from one company by accident. But for now, let's do export. And again, this is going to look at their LinkedIn, going to make sure that these people are still relevant. And only then it's going to export that data for you. So now we have it. Export finished. You can download it if you want on your computer, no problem. Otherwise, we can go directly into the campaigns. Mm-hmm. We'll do a create campaign over here, AI generated sequence, and this is really where Meetz excels. So we'll go over here and you can see some of these fake prompts, but we'll talk about CRM automatically tracks your activity and logs it internally, which would be also a good business idea if you want to take it. Testimonials, CRM, it's very easy to use. We'll keep it Michael Jordan. Over here, my job title, SDR, CRA. Okay. And now we can select the different steps we want inside of the outreach, also the different automations, automated booking, also sending the emails as soon as the AI generates it. And the difference between the AI personalized emails and the templated emails is that the AI personalized emails will actually go into their LinkedIn. It'll check the activity. It'll check what they're writing, what they're commenting on, sharing, and then it'll connect it inside of the email. And it's unique for every single different prospect. And the templated email will also be A/B tested. But the A/B testing it'll be templated. So you'll have the same emails going out, but you might have 4 or 5 different templates in every step. But we'll see that shortly. And then over here, meaning call to action.
I got a question here. Quick question for you. What about that part that said phone calls? Does that mean that as a person could be making calls and the AI will review the call scripts? Recording? Yeah, so this is basically a power dialer. We don't have AI voice just because most of the world, the AI voice is not legal. But what we do is that, and I can probably show it also on the platform, but as we call up to 15 people at the same time. So if they're on the phone step, as soon as they answer, so you'll get a pop-up with their LinkedIn information, company information. So if they raised money or anything like that, also just basic information, name, company, all that. And also the AI is going to try and connect between your value proposition and what they're uploading on LinkedIn or what their company is doing. And then it can help you create a more warm. So this is for the power dialer. And that's our in steps. But the AI is only used to create the intro line and also just to hear as soon as the person says hello and then pass it on. Because if it's a voicemail, so we don't want to waste your time. We want to move it forward. Right. Voicemail and continue on to Zon so you can get good conversations. So I heard a couple of things in there that you clarified for me that were seem pretty cool. So one, there's a power dialer. Now, are there on the different level plans that Meetz has? Is it one of those things where you opt in for that power dialer? It sounds like a 15x power dialer, where previously, let's say like an Orem has a 10x dialer. You guys have a 15x dialer opts in for the dialer.
Yeah, I mean, the dialer is actually on our most basic plan. So that's
Okay.
$49. You just have to pay for the minutes. So we keep it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you one more question before you move forward. When you onboard customers, when you guys are onboard customers, what's the biggest sticking point here, or the part that you normally just want to coach the customer on to make sure that they know and have solid for themselves so that Meetz could do the best job for them? Anything that they kind of, the watch outs here in this section that people might want to be aware of?
So in this one, it's just really depends, if they want to do the phone calls or not. Mm-hmm. There's not too much that you want to do here apart than, you can say the value proposition. So it would be helpful. And then you can test different value propositions with the different audiences you have. So you can do, value proposition 1, value proposition 2. And that can also be part of the campaign name, just so you can track which value proposition is also resonating best with your prospects. But you can really kind of play around with it. And also, we built it in a way that, even with any, small, user input errors or anything that's kind of not, exact, it still works very good, simply because part of what we're doing right now in the AI-generated sequence is creating so many variants that almost every prospect is going to have a different flow in your campaign, and we're going to be able to see very easily what's working good for you and automatically optimize based off of it. So we really wanted to, take off the whole messaging difficulty and then have just our clients focus on which audience is working best for them to generate the leads. And you can actually do it in the campaign section. I'll show that to you afterwards, but the analytics, you see it side by side. You can see opens, clicks, responses. You can even see if the prospects forwarded internally, because sometimes people forward the email internally and they'll forget to respond just because they're busy. But they're interested because they forwarded it. And if you see too many forwarded emails, you can also understand that probably this audience is not, relevant. Maybe you're turning the wrong job title. And so that's why we just want to put the focus on the audience for our clients. And then you can kind of see which ones are resonating best with your value proposition.
Got it.
So perfect. And then over here, this is just, manage the prospects. You can select the people that you want inside of the campaign. So you can, of course, also upload the prospects that we just did. And so over here, select that one, we'll go ahead and upload it. And then they'll be selected to be added into the campaign. And this is the unique offer. So this is why is it special? And so for this one, it would be CRM is automating one of the processes. And then these already we did one, but let's see. Perfect. Yeah, and then so I'll regenerate because I already had a sequence in the past. So this takes about 1 or 2 minutes, but we can also jump already in the campaign that's built, and I'll show you how it's working. And within this 2 minutes, AI is creating the entire sequence, creating all the variants. It's creating the AI personalization. It's also creating the steps of the phone calls. And then part of it is, maybe you have a phone step, and then the next email will say, hey, I tried calling you earlier today or last week. Because I saw you uploaded, this on LinkedIn. So that solves the part of the flow that's being built right now. So I'll show you how a finished campaign looks like. It'll be pretty much the same.
And so, Tom, while that loads up, or while you pull this up, then just to, oftentimes we see that folks look at the tech and they get so excited about the tech that they don't do the non-tech work. So it's like, hey, slam everything into the system. So it sounds like to me, what a client, a buyer, potential customer for Meetz.ai should do is all the same steps that you would normally do in creating a sales playbook. You go ahead and define who your buyer, let's say specifically the job titles, what kind of companies you want to target by industry, employee count, and location, and which job titles do you want to go after based on seniority or the functional role. Figure that out first. You could write that down on paper, right? The next thing would be around outreach and what you want to, let me say this before that. Value proposition. You may have different value propositions, right? Identify what those are. And then the last one would be your sequences of what do you want to say? Your email script, your phone script, or whatever script might dictate outreach. You can get all that done on paper first. Then you're going to go into Meetz and you're going to load that stuff up. And that would be...
Yeah, for sure. Like if you do all this work ahead of time, you'll be much more prepared. For sure. Like the steps he said, and that's actually pretty much the steps that we go over on the optimization call, like one for one. But yeah, I mean, sometimes, you go in and just like you said, you got the technology, so you just push it in. But you'll see also on the emails that are coming out, whether it's, approaching it correctly. You'll also see on the responses of the prospects, whether they're good or not. So kind of also naturally, you are able to ease into the platform. But if you did the steps that you did, which is much more organized, so you'll be pretty much ready from day one to, get started with the sequences much better. So yeah, amazing. Awesome. But yeah, so over here you can see this is a campaign already that's built. We can take a look at the steps that we have here. We can also see the different variants that we have. And yeah, so let's just say, for this one over here, we can see that we have 2 prospects that we want to go ahead and reach out to them. So this is going to open up the people that we want to reach out to. You can also view the AI email that was generated for them. You can also play around with it, change the settings on it. And then over here, we have the phone call, and that's initialized pretty easily. So you'll just click on activate to power dialer. It'll start calling people. Over here. You'll see, called 10 out of 100, 20 out of 100, 30 out of 100. They'll hear a beep, and you'll have on the whole screen all the information about the prospect. And actually just like something nice on the side that we also connected. So you can also connect Spotify into Meetz, listen to music, and then while you're dialing, listen to whatever, podcast you like or music, and we'll pause it. And then you'll be able to speak with the person. So anyways, though, it's a minute or two and you're going to get a few conversations already. So there's not too much time between it. But if you have a large list that you're uploading to Meetz, so that could happen. But yeah, we have also direct mobile phones. So for us, it's pretty quick until we get to talk to someone. And yeah, of course, also over here, we have the variants. So you're able to see what email variant is working well. You can also see the analytics for the different variants that are coming out. And every single step has a different email body, has a different subject line. And then all you have to do really is kind of let me send it out randomly to the different prospects in the step. And it'll just tell you which variant is working good. And then Meetz can optimize based off of the variant that we found that works best. And again, if this step has, 5 different variants, this one has, 3 kind of interchanges, every prospect is going to get a different type of outreach, but it will follow in line with some pattern. So after a phone call, you can expect to see more templates discussing the fact that, we tried calling them, and you can see that there's a delay here for 15 minutes. So here, I tried calling you earlier today, but couldn't reach you. And I tried reaching out via phone, but missed you. So this is part of the flow. And it also helps connect. As soon as someone gets a phone call and they get a templated email, that says, I tried calling you, they'll open it up and they'll consider your offer. And then, the reason why we also do personalization is to get the, especially for the personalized email, so less so the templated email, but the personalization, the reason is that we want to show the product from the viewpoint of the prospect. So the prospect, if he's a CRO, we'll talk about how we can help their team, how we can get them to achieve revenue targets. But if they're an individual contributor, we'll discuss the day-to-day motions of doing the outreach and the difficulty of it. And that has to go through in the email. And that's the main reason also why this the personalization is working good. And also why the AI personalizes always first or second step in the sequence. It's usually not the 5th or 6th, anything like that.
Nice. And how about the performance reporting?
Yeah, so the performance, so you have a few different things over here. So when we go to the campaigns, I'll show you how that looks like. So over here, you can see kind of generic analytics, just like what actions you have to do today. But we also have, this is what I was discussing, the side-by-side view. So you can see this is one audience, this will be another audience. So we'll have the emails sent, emails opened, likely forwarded. You'll see the emails replied, also phone calls, as you can see. And I can say also in the older version of our platform, for us, when we were getting demos for ourselves, VPs, they were just not responding good for emails. SDRs are responding amazing. So we were taking SDRs, getting referrals internally to their VPs, but VPs were answering cold calls and we were getting deals very easily with it. So you'll find out a lot of stuff in these analytics, and this is very easy just to see it side by side. And of course, also for the emails, one of the main things that we saw that Meetz is able to bring in a lot of extra leads for our clients is the likely forwarded. And the likely forwarded, again, so we're measuring to see if they forwarded internally. And these are people that if they finish the sequence, if they forwarded it, most likely they probably remember it, much higher likelihood that they're interested. So you could just call them up or send out just a quick email over here to see if they're interested, if they've got a chance to see the previous emails. And then as soon as you have all of this, you can, of course, just see a very high-level overview, emails that you sent out, how many of them are good. You can also toggle, between days, months, just to see the, overall, it should be going up the more you're optimizing it. So you should be seeing more replies per email sent. And you can also see all the different flows in the AI email scheduler. And the email scheduler, go see it over here. It's pretty much just CC the email. So I just copy the email. You can do it even without Meetz. So you'll be just CC it also on your phone, and Meetz will automatically see it and start initializing the scheduling. So that would be for this, just so you can see the flows, which ones are booked, which ones weren't. Just some that are good might not have booked, and then you should probably just regenerate it. So we have hot prospects, also recent interactions. So this is just a very high level overview. But then once you get someone that's good, you got the person to answer. So you can also go into the deal section, add them in, kind of track the progress of them, how much they're worth. So as they're good, you'll move it over. They'll go into that deal section. And also the managers. So one of the things is that you can also pretty much do an exact replica of your workers' dashboard. And they can also very easily track this dashboard, see the deals, see which ones are going good, which ones aren't, just so they kind of have a feel for the pipeline and everything. But yeah, I mean, that's the features that we have so far. We have a lot of things also planned, and this is a lot of stuff already. But yeah, I think this is the great rundown, everything. So
awesome. Let me ask you one more question before we close out on this. There in the dashboard, how customizable is that? And let me give you a little bit more details. So on your website, I'm looking at where it says, leads, meetings, pipeline. So if I wanted to make my dashboard show those numbers in first position, could I do that here?
So that's one of the things that we're going to be adding. But first, we're going to release this platform, and then we'll be able to do that. But you also have different types of analytics that you can send out. So it won't only be emails, because over here this is just a numerical amount of emails that are sent. You'll also have a ratio, so you'll be able to see what percentage of the emails are good, what percentage of the emails were delivered, things like that. So it won't only be just total numerical values over here. So you'll have a lot more customizability over this in a month or so. But yeah, for now, this is the broad overview of what you have. But yeah, of course, if you have HubSpot, Salesforce, you have integrations, so you can always connect that also to your CRM.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Tom. This has been informative. I mean, at $49, give or take, let's just round it up to 50, right? This is a big game changer for those that want to scale a team with technology rather than over always the headcount. And we could obviously see where there's some opportunities to replace some parts of your software stack in here. So virtual prospecting with Meetz.ai. If you are interested, click the link in the description area of the video. so that you can go ahead and get access to a 14-day free trial, Meetz.ai, and see if it could be the thing that you need, that tool that you need to start scaling your outbound prospecting. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
And catch you guys on the next episode of the Transform Sales Podcast Sales Software Review. Have a good one.
All right.